For all its beauty and splendor, the wilderness can be a cruel teacher. Mountain climbing is a pursuit that calls upon our deepest strengths, testing our resilience and determination against nature's challenges. But upon the challenge of reaching these towering peaks, there exists an inherent peril that demands respect and caution. Mountains possess an uncanny ability to remind us of our vulnerability. Their majestic beauty conceals unpredictable weather patterns, treacherous terrain, and unforgiving altitudes, all of which can bring on the precipice of death's door. Please click the subscribe and like buttons. This is Outdoor Disasters. The Sierra Nevada is a majestic mountain range located in the western United States, primarily within the states of California and Nevada. It stretches approximately 400 miles or 640 kilometers from north to south. This range is renowned for its stunning beauty, diverse ecosystems, and iconic peaks. Its towering summits and sprawling valleys weave together a story of geological wonder, ecological diversity, and a profound impact on the world around it. Within its confines lie places revered by explorers and conservationists alike. Yosemite, Sequoia, and Kings Canyon National Parks, jewels set amidst this rugged expanse, are sanctuaries of raw beauty. The Sierra Nevada was formed by tectonic activity and glacial erosion. Its granite peaks, such as Half Dome and El Capitan in Yosemite, are iconic examples of this geological history. The Sierra Nevada is a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. It offers ample opportunities for hiking, rock climbing, camping, fishing, skiing, and other outdoor activities throughout the year. The Sierra Nevada stands as a symbol of natural beauty, offering both breathtaking vistas and an abundance of recreational and ecological opportunities for those who visit and explore its diverse landscapes. For Derek Cheng, his Sierra Nevada climbing expedition would be a nightmare. Derek Cheng is an avid climber from New Zealand with a 15-year climbing history under his belt. At the time, Derek was living abroad in North America in a camper van. His current home was the Sierra Nevada, a mecca for rock climbers worldwide. On this particular day in July 2016, Derek was to rendezvous with a friend for a rock climbing expedition the following day. However, with a day to spare, Cheng indulged in one of his cherished activities, conquering immense ridge traverses. This particular outing was a vision Derek had explored on several occasions. Having delved into Peter Kraft's guidebook on the Sierra Nevada, he was captivated by the description of the Minarets Traverse, touted as one of the finest adventures encompassing up to 20 peaks above Mammoth. Derek always felt a tinge of apprehension when venturing solo into the mountains. Aware of the absence of cell coverage, he made the decision to proceed. On a picturesque July day, he parked at the trailhead, arriving late the night before and waking around 4 a.m. Ascending past the lake, Derek spotted a couple of campers, recognizing the area's remoteness as he veered off the popular day hike trail toward Minaret Lake. Observing only 2 campers and no one else in the vicinity, he began his ascent, initially opting to bypass the first peaks before starting the scramble. As the terrain grew steeper, he donned his rock shoes, navigating exposed areas with relative ease, noting the lack of significant technical difficulty. Equipped with a backpack filled with gear for potential temperature drops, including a half rope and a set of wires for emergency anchor construction, Derek felt adequately prepared and confident. Progressing amid beautiful rock formations and scenic vistas, he encountered a frozen lake, taking a moment to hydrate and refuel before resuming his ascent toward Clyde Minaret. Around 11 a.m., amidst the warmth of the beautiful day, Derek paused at the lake, enjoying a Clif bar and relishing the accomplishments of scaling a few technical climbs and tagging the initial peaks of the traverse. This would be Cheng's last memory for the next few hours. The next recollection Derek had was awakening on a ledge along Clyde Minaret's face, feeling sore, and noticing limited vision from his right eye. His entire left side was numb and bleeding upon touch. Retrieving an iPod, he inadvertently captured a selfie, revealing his left side covered in dried blood, sealing his left eye shut. The selfie indicated an hour or more of unconsciousness, leading to a confusing discovery of a broken cord tied to his newly acquired alpine climbing pack. In a resourceful move, Derek used the cord to repair the broken strap before losing consciousness once more, unsure whether the moment of snapping the selfie coincided with this instance. Somewhere on the south or southwest face of Clyde Minaret, a class 3 or 4 scramble up the crown jewel of the range, I came unstuck and fell some distance, landing on a flat ledge. My face and shins appeared to have taken the brunt of the initial impact before my body rolled into an unconscious heap. Head trauma amnesia meant I had only a vague recollection of where I had been or how far I had fallen. I woke up at some point and realized the strap of my pack had ripped off. I have no memory of this, but I must have repaired it with some cord, taken a blurry selfie, and then passed out again, he recalled. The subsequent awakening found Derek an hour later. He moved cautiously, rolling over, propping himself up with a deep exhale. Testing each leg gingerly, he noted a semblance of functionality in his limbs. I'm injured. I should head down, he thought to himself. He initially assumed the injuries weren't severe, despite the visible wounds adorned both shins with deep, bloody gashes. Additional injuries across his body hinted at a tumbling motion during the fall. Swollen hands hinted at an attempt to cushion the impact. A chest mark indicated bruising on his right lung. Furthermore, the cut on his pants left streaks of blood down the right side of his backside. I realized that I had this big tear in my soft-shell pants and rolled them up to see this massive gash in my right shin, maybe 7 or 8 centimeters long. And it was just blood, not gushing blood, but it was this massive cut to a meaty part of your body. I was bleeding and had ripped through my clothes. Something has obviously happened, I don't know what, but I'm hurt. And I don't even know if I thought I must have fallen down the mountain, but I didn't really think about what had happened. I remember trying to get up because I was on this ledge. I was lying down in this haphazard way, and when I got up, my back cracked, and it was painful. Well, not in a debilitatingly, you can't move way, but I'm banged up, Derek said. Derek cautiously rose to his feet, assessing each leg's ability to bear weight. Reassured that he could put weight on both legs without discomfort, he realized his hands and wrists had swelled considerably, resembling the bloated appearance. His conclusion was he must have extended his hands to break the fall during the tumble down the Class 4 scramble on the southwest face. Despite regaining consciousness and feeling somewhat fine, a practical inner voice urged caution. Initially entertaining the idea of continuing the climb, a rational realization hit him. That's just stupid. Something has clearly gone wrong, and I should descend. Disregarding the gravity of the situation, Derek's primary thought was, I'm injured, but I should make my way down. The possibility of severe complications didn't cross his mind at that moment. The descent down the steep terrain posed a challenge for Derek. Ordinarily confident in down climbing without equipment, he realized that his compromised vision and swollen hands increased the risk of further injury. The traverse lacked a designated route or trail, presenting only the options of ascending or descending. Fortunately, Derek possessed sufficient gear and expertise to construct brief rappels. He engaged in 5 or 6 rappels, but fatigue started to take its toll as exhaustion gradually set in. During the series of rappels, exhaustion crept in. And at one point, Derek found himself overwhelmed by weariness. He sought a brief reprieve, sitting in the sun and closing his eyes, inadvertently drifting into sleep. The awakening brought a stark realization. Right. I'm descending this mountain. That's what I should continue doing, acknowledging the situation and the need to move downward swiftly, especially considering the looming nightfall. Navigating a snow slope on the descent towards Minarets Lake offered a different experience. Despite the afternoon slushiness that could typically be enjoyable, Derek faced challenges. The soft, knee-friendly trudging and sizable steps that usually characterize this descent became cumbersome due to his limited vision from having only one functioning eye. His struggles stemmed from compromised balance, skewed depth perception, and an inability to place his feet as intended, disrupting his usual movements. Continual imbalance led to repeated falls. Frustrated and recognizing the futility of persisting with diminished vision, Derek eventually settled into the deeper snow, yielding to his impaired sight. Surrendering to the limitations, he shifted to a seated position and descended the slope on his rear, sliding down gradually. Derek had finally descended the few hundred meters from where he woke up to Minarets Lake. What normally would have taken him a couple of hours had taken 8. Dusk was falling, and he was still 7.5 miles from the trailhead. Although his memories are spotty at the moment, Derek recalls the breathtaking evening hues, vivid and vibrant, like a streak of rainbow hues across the sky that gradually shifted into deep purples. With his headlamp and shell on, he ventured into the forest as darkness settled in. Foregoing a puffy jacket, assuming it unnecessary, he relied on his shell for warmth. Navigating by headlamp but off the trail, Derek trusted his instincts. The distance from Minaret Lake through the forest to reach the popular day hike was an hour's walk. Despite leaving Minaret Lake at 8 p.m., he wandered aimlessly for hours within the forest, unable to locate the trail. He couldn't recall being on the trail at any point. It seemed he had lost his bearings entirely and kept moving, hoping to stumble upon the path. Dishearteningly, it never materialized. Eventually, sheer exhaustion led him to collapse and doze off. During that period of rest, vivid dreams immersed him in the forest. He desperately tried to find the trail with a group of friends, brainstorming solutions until he abruptly awoke, realizing he was entirely alone. Upon awakening around daybreak, Derek felt a chill and disorientation lingering from his dreams, half expecting to find his friends beside him. Discovering his jaw incapable of chewing his Clif bars, he assumed it was merely a minor bruise and resolved to start moving. A faint sound of a river caught his attention in the distance. Aware of a brief river crossing to reach the trail, he traced the sound until he located it. "I just moved toward the river sounds, and I quite quickly found a trail. And it must be the trail that takes you up to the lake. And I felt quite relieved, and I crossed the stream, and I was like, this is good. I'm down. I'm on the popular trail now. So it's just a matter of a couple hours following this trail, back to the trailhead, getting back to my van. But so, I was walking down this trail feeling pretty good, pretty confident I'm going to get back to my van and then just drive to the hospital," Derek recalled. Later on, as he traversed the river, a couple of hikers approached from the opposite direction. Derek greeted them casually. "Hi there." However, their reaction caught him off guard as they exclaimed, "Oh my God, you look really hurt." Despite his dreadful appearance, Derek insisted, "Actually, I'm really fine." He harbored an aversion to disrupting someone else's day unnecessarily and didn't have a true reflection of his own appearance. They adamantly refused to let him continue alone, remarking, "There's no way you're walking back looking like that." One of the individuals accompanied him on the return journey. Sadly, Derek couldn't recall the person's name to express his gratitude for their assistance. Once back at the trailhead, a national park ranger was present and offered to arrange a rescue. Derek declined, feeling it unnecessary given his proximity to help. Conveniently, the person who accompanied him had used the bus to get to the trail, allowing them to drive Derek's van to the hospital. Arriving at Mammoth Hospital, Derek was in and out of sleep during the drive, utterly exhausted from the ordeal. Upon entering the hospital, he initially sat in the waiting area until a receptionist advised him to proceed for immediate attention. During the initial consultation, he downplayed his pain level and expressed doubt about any broken bones, citing his descent down Clyde Minaret and the subsequent 7.5-mile walk. However, the medical staff, seemingly doubting his self-assessment, proceeded with scans, evidently concerned about the extent of his injuries. According to Derek's hospital report, he was covered in blood, essentially covered head to toe with contusions, abrasions, and laceration. He'd sustained multiple internal injuries, including a head bleed, and had multiple facial fractures, including a broken jaw. The medical records would later reveal that Derek had likely lost about a third of his blood during the incident. Dehydration had pushed him into the initial stages of renal failure. His injuries included fractures in his neck and spine, torn ligaments in his left shoulder, a ruptured PCL in his right knee, and a partially torn ACL in the same knee. Additionally, he had ripped a ligament in his left wrist, the one that had swollen significantly due to using it to break his fall. The facilities at Mammoth Hospital were inadequate for treating traumatic brain injuries, prompting his transfer by helicopter to a hospital in Reno. One vivid memory from this time was when medical staff had to forcibly open his left eye, shut for over 24 hours due to pus and concealed blood. Despite the unpleasant experience, he could still see out of the eye. While at Mammoth Hospital, Derek used the Wi-Fi to send messages to his climbing partner and a few acquaintances who were aware of his whereabouts and plans for the Minarets traverse. His messages, however, were a bit incoherent as he was delirious due to the ordeal. I remember waking up and having my friends Lauren and Elena at my bedside in ICU and being like, "How's it going? What have you guys been climbing?" And Elena told me later that I clearly had a brain injury because I kept repeating myself asking him the same questions. She said, "I looked like death lying on a hospital bed, just covered in blood and bruises, but incredible to have them at my bedside and to have company." They contacted my family in New Zealand to let them know where I was and what had happened. They had to tell them that they didn't really know what the recovery time would be or what the outcome would be, that I needed facial reconstructive surgery, but I was on fentanyl, so that just sounded good to me. Derek still isn't sure how many titanium plates doctors used to hold the bones in his face back together, but he thinks it was around 4 to 5. He also suffered nerve damage, leaving much of his face numb, which is still the case today. The brain bleed resolved on its own without surgery. All in all, he feels lucky. Derek believed the most plausible explanation was being struck by rockfall. Despite wearing a helmet, the impact occurred just below it, causing him to tumble down the mountain until he landed on a ledge. Reflecting on the incident, he acknowledged the considerable element of luck involved. Getting hit by rockfall was an inherent risk in mountain environments, an objective hazard one always considers when venturing into such terrain. Considering the helmet's protection, he speculated that the damage might have been far less than what actually occurred. Yet the fortunate landing on the ledge likely altered the outcome significantly. Derek mused that had he not landed on that ledge, his situation might have been drastically different, possibly not even alive to recount the experience. He attributed surviving such incidents partly to chance, acknowledging various factors like one's health at the time and genetic predispositions. It took Derek around 18 months before he resumed climbing. The experience of returning to the mountains and being able to climb again was truly exhilarating, especially considering the uncertainty of whether he'd ever climb again. Although he had performed solo climbing in the mountains post-recovery, none of those endeavors were as extensive as the Minarets traverse. Reflecting on it, he admitted that, in hindsight, he might opt for something smaller rather than undertaking a challenge of that magnitude again. The mountains clearly have objective hazards, which is why I bought insurance, and you can avoid that by never going, but I love the mountains and I feel alive when I'm in the mountains. Interacting with the mountains, whether it be climbing or scrambling or camping or bivvying or whatever, it just brings me such joy that I don't want to have absent in my life. When facing a mountain climbing disaster, courage becomes your ally and resilience your guide. Each step taken, each obstacle fuels your determination to survive against all odds. In the midst of chaos, remember to breathe. Focus on the next move rather than the overwhelming enormity of the situation. Trust your instincts, harness your inner strength, and adapt swiftly to the changing circumstances. Stay mindful of your resources, time, gear, and energy. Every decision counts. Prioritize safety, conserve strength, and take calculated risks. Sometimes the smallest choices yield the greatest outcomes. In the face of fear, summon your determination. Lean on something greater than yourself to see your way through the darkest moments. Know that survival is not just a physical feat, but a triumph of spirit and resilience. Above all, believe in the strength within you. You are capable, resilient, and far more powerful than the challenges that confront you. Surviving a mountain climbing disaster demands grit, resourcefulness, and an unwavering will to overcome. You are more than capable of weathering this storm. You will emerge after surviving an outdoor disaster. Thank you for watching. Want more outdoor disaster content? Check out these stories I believe you'll enjoy.